Presidential Communications Office says there were no discussions on budgetary enactment during President Bongbong Marcos's meeting with cabinet officials. In a post on Facebook on Monday, December 23, the Presidential Communications Office discloses that Marcos is conferring with Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, the cabinet officials of the Economic Cluster, and Secretary of Public Works and Highways Manuel Bonoan while reviewing the proposed national budget for next year. Presidential Communications Office Chief Cesar Chavez says that there were no discussions regarding budgetary enactment from the last two meetings that he attended with the President and key cabinet members. Senator Amy Marcos previously said she would be more in favor of reenacting the 2024 national budget than push for the 2025 General Appropriations Bill, which supposedly contains contentious provisions. Section 25 and Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution states that if by the end of any fiscal year, Congress failed to pass the General Appropriations Bill for the ensuing year, the General Appropriations Act for the preceding year shall be deemed reenacted and shall remain in force and in effect until the General Appropriations Bill is passed by Congress. The scheduled signing of the 6.3 trillion pesos national budget for 2025 was supposed to be on December 20, but Bersamin said it would not push through to allow more time for a rigorous and exhaustive review. The final version of the proposed national budget for next year featured massive cuts on several public services. The cuts include 86 billion pesos from the Department of Social Welfare and Development, 74.5 billion pesos from the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, and 12 billion pesos from the Department of Education. Meanwhile, Chavez says Marcos hopes to act on the measure before the year ends. The Philippine military says it plans to acquire the US Typhoon missile system to protect the country's maritime interests, some of which overlap with regional power China. The US Army deployed the mid-range missile system in the northern Philippines earlier this year for annual joint military exercises with the Philippines, but decided to leave it there despite criticism by Beijing that it was destabilizing to Asia. Since then, the missile system has been used by Philippine Army to train for its operation. In a conference on Monday, December 23, Philippine Army Chief Lieutenant General Roy Galido says the missile system is planned to be acquired by the Philippines because of its feasibility and functionality in the concept of the country's archipelagic defense implementation. Galido adds that the Army is happy to report to Filipinos that the Philippine Army is developing this capability for the interest of protecting the country's sovereignty. Galido further says that it takes at least 2 or more years for the Philippine military to acquire a new weapon system from the planning stage. The land-based mid-range capability missile launcher, developed by U.S. firm Lockheed Martin for the U.S. Army, has a range of 300 miles, though a longer-range version is in development. The presence of the U.S. missile system on Philippine soil had angered Beijing, whose forces have engaged in escalating confrontations in recent months with the Philippines over disputed reefs and waters in the South China Sea. In June, Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun warned that the typhoon deployment was severely damaging regional security and stability. The Department of Health says a senior citizen no longer needs to show a purchase booklet to avail of the mandated discount for their medicines. In a statement on Monday, December 23, the DOH announces that Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa has signed DOH Administrative Order No. 2024-0017 to remove the requirement of a purchase booklet for senior citizens to avail their discount on medicines. The newly signed administrative order removes the requirement for seniors to present a purchase booklet to drugstores, which before accompanied valid identification and a doctor's prescription in order to get a discount. In the same statement, Herbosa says the government wants to make it easy for senior citizens to get discounts on their medicines. Earlier this year, House lawmakers such as ACT-CIS Party List Representative Erwin Tulfo called for the elimination of purchase booklets as a requirement for seniors to get medicine discounts. According to Tulfo, a senior citizen's identification card should be enough to claim their law-provided exemptions. However, the Drugstores Association of the Philippines argued that requiring seniors to show their purchase booklets is necessary as it is useful in ensuring compliance with prescribed medications. The group said it likewise helps prevent abuses of senior citizens' perks. A day before the deadline set by law, the Department of Labor and Employment is appealing anew to owners of establishments in the private sector to give workers their 13th month pay. DOLE Secretary Bienvenido Laguesma says the department, as well as employees, would truly appreciate receiving the benefit, which is required under the Labor Code of the Philippines and Presidential Decree 851. Laguesma is counting on the compassion of employers to adhere to what is required by the law. According to Laguesma, in the spirit of the holiday season, he does not want to make a warning, but rather he appeals to employers who have not yet paid the 13th month to show an act of love and care to their workers by voluntarily complying with the mandate of the law. At the same time, the DOLE Secretary is calling on employees who will not receive their 13th month pay after December 24 deadline to report it to the agency. Laguesma says employers who will fail to give the 13th month pay to their workers can be summoned by the DOLE so that the issue of non-payment can be resolved. All rank-and-file employees are entitled to receive the benefit regardless of their position, designation, or employment status, and irrespective of the method by which their wages are paid. For the computation of the 13th month pay, it should not be less than 1.5 the total basic salary earned by a worker within a calendar year. More expressways announced the waiving of toll during the holiday season. The Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation announces that toll will be free in all of their expressways starting 10 p.m. of December 24 until 6 a.m. on Christmas Day, December 25. The same will be in effect from 10 p.m. on December 31 until the New Year's Day at 6 a.m. This includes Class 1, 2, and 3 vehicles plying North Luzon Expressway, NLEX Connector, Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway, Cavite-Laguna Expressway, and Cavite Expressway. Earlier, the San Miguel Corporation also announced its waiving of the toll on all of its expressways. These are Skyway System, Ninoy Aquino International Airport Expressway, South Luzon Expressway, Star Tollway, and Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway. The expressways will be toll-free for motorists from 10 p.m. on December 24 to 6 a.m. on December 25, and again from 10 p.m. on December 31 to 6 a.m. on January 1, 2025.